Hi, thanks for joining me. I'm Aoife Reilly and I live in Kinbarra, County Galway, Ireland. And I'm going to read some poems today. So thanks to Simon and Roz for setting up this cool initiative called The Holding Cell. Um, Pretty happy to have a slot on it. And I'll read you some poems today from my book that's coming out with Dira Press later in the year. It's Revolutions of Humming Things. So thanks for joining me and hope you're all keeping well during the pandemic. And thanks for listening. So the first poem I'm going to read is my version of a poem by Kaylin Hoyt, and it's her poem was called "God Says Yes to Me." So this is my version. It's called Genesis. After the fifth hole on the second day, the god of the drill spoke. She said it was absolutely fine about the multiple injuries to the kitchen wall. Make as many holes as you need. And when I drove in that PZ2 screw, which hit major resistance, and then I proceeded to cover all the extra holes with my origami fox, winking just above the biggest one, God said that was okay too. Be creative, why not? And when I cursed myself for not listening to anything mechanically related in school and called the wall stupid, she declared I should adopt an attitude of gratitude. Good that I didn't get electrocuted in the face of hardcore feminism with drill bits. And she said it was okay to call that feminism too if I wanted. And when I worried about the years of possible disasters to come, she just said, look, Lovine, in the beginning, light was day, dark was night, the vault between a canvas destined for cracks. Go live your life. Um, this next one is called Ordinary Ode. So it's just a poem a bit about really the taking joy in the small things in life or just noticing them a bit more. So, Ordinary Ode. Sell your cleverness and buy bewilderment, declared Rumi. Perhaps he would appreciate my impromptu DIY, such as fixing the light with a potato peeler in lieu of a screwdriver, or maybe he'd welcome the common seagull overhead yelping, mine, mine, mine. No one wants to be reincarnated as a seagull or a worm. We all want to be dolphins or eagles next time. The god of the ordinary lives in flat screen TVs. It grins at our human grasp on love. I love all God's creatures, except for this bee, she said, as she squashed it against the wall of the petrol station before giving me my change. And reverence resides in the moth, whirring wings in my ear, propelling its life towards the light like a suicide bomber. This is a picture of me living the ordinary. It's dusk. The grass is electric, and I'm picking flowers at the front door. Here, take whatever is left of the grey. Tell the sun I'm coming. So this is a different poem again. It's inspired by a huge big star shower I saw a couple of years ago. Apparently it happens every year in August, but a few years ago it was a really big star shower. So this poem is sort of based on that. It's called Cosmic Kitchen. Someone once explained to me the swirl of Milky Way stretched across a ragged poster of the cosmos in my kitchen. The further we are from the ground, he said, the faster time ticks. And if I stayed downstairs for good, I'd live a fraction longer. To the north, the poster revealed Virgo, Cygnus, and the Serpent. To the south, Centaur, Aquarius, and Noah's Dove. Myth maps to mark our human view of things on my pantry wall. Amid the cups and pots, I remembered then that hunter's moon rising late in August, with the shooting stars spilling out of the sky so fast we couldn't make enough wishes to match the speed of their falling. Silver swords of hope tumbling through the sky dust. And in the kitchen of here and now, this magnet called Earth revolves me around herbs and harvest, charting the celestial in garlic and potatoes, with Pleiades mapped in weeds and seeds. The sky doing what it must and what it should, pulling, pushing, igniting. So from the perspective of the stars in my kitchen, all is well. And so, a couple more poems. This one, I recently enough bought my first home and some land, and this poem is a little bit about finally feeling that sense of home and how it might have been different from what I imagined. It's called Homing. It wasn't always about the red velvet curtains and the Bosch drill bits. There were more noble notions of home in my head. Foundations built on mulberry orchards, for instance. But when she handed me that gift, a sea stone with a perfectly sculpted hole tied elegantly to a bundle of young feathers, I understood. To think I could have reached this point convinced I'd felt everything a two legged could feel. Remember the routes to fly, she wrote on the card. It took many miles and most of the time to get here, not to these walls and windows, not to the chairs or chimney, but to arrive at belonging made by rhythm at home with its own timing. Like Raven that morning, swinging around a half moon in the day bright blue, cloudless worship of stone at the silver river, belonging to what we can't see or hear. And there's nothing more simple than this. Your heart hurting in the honesty of wild things, the sky changing to steel, chanting an invocation on the impossibility of yellow flowers in a grey wall, because end of day, even with the curtains and the drill bits, it's just you and that soundless winged being flying into the homing sun, and all we need is here. So, I'm going to do one more poem for you, and thanks for listening. Um, there's an amazing website set up by Ruth McKee and a few other talented others called Pandemic. And I felt inspired to put a poem on that about being pregnant in a pandemic. Baby's due in a few weeks' time, and felt like a nice moment to write a poem about being pregnant in the pandemic. I was going to say pandemic. So here we go. Thanks for listening again. Someday we'll look back on this baby. We won't laugh about it, but we'll remember how you were growing in me at a time when the earth became a strange and kinder place. Though they talk of masks and isolation, don't listen. This is not for growing ears. Your work is to dream and swim the womb. By the time you leave my body, we'll be living in a new world with less pride and more humanity to welcome you when you arrive, perfectly timed, with the love pulse working its way from the cord to the first breath, carrying you into light and the medicine you bring, showing me the forge within to shape my strength in chaos and birth a paradigm of faith. So, finishing on an optimistic note, wishing you all the best for the next few weeks. And again, thanks to Simon and Roz. And thanks everyone. Slán, Gurmagwiv.